Ethan had always been a night owl, often staying up late watching old horror movies. It was a routine, a comfort. But one night, while flipping through channels on his ancient television, something strange happened. The screen flickered, the static hissing louder than usual. For a moment, he swore he saw a figure standing inside the static, just barely visible, motionless. Then, the TV snapped off on its own. He laughed it off as a glitch, until the TV turned itself back on, and the man in the static was closer. Ethan tried changing the channel, but every station showed the same grainy black and white static. He squinted at the screen, his fingers tightening around the remote. Then the static shifted. A shape moved within the white noise, tall, thin, featureless. Ethan's stomach twisted. He reached forward to turn the TV off manually, but before his fingers touched the screen, the figure snapped its head toward him. The TV cut to black. Ethan sat frozen in silence. Then from the hallway, a faint crackling sound, like static, coming from inside his house. Ethan spent the next day convincing himself it was a dream, an exhaustion-fueled hallucination. But that night, at exactly 3:03 a.m., the TV turned on by itself again. This time, the static had words. "Can you see me?" Ethan's breath hitched. He grabbed his phone, snapping a picture of the screen. The moment he did, the static burst into a deafening roar. The lights in his apartment flickered violently. The TV screen warped, as though something on the other side was pushing against it. And then, the power went out. Ethan sat in darkness. But the static was still there, buzzing from his phone. Ethan turned his phone over, staring at the image he'd captured. It wasn't just static. It was a grainy, blurred image of his living room, the same room he was sitting in, and standing directly behind him was the man in the static. The moment Ethan turned around, his ears filled with piercing white noise. His vision blurred, his body convulsing as if his nerves were being rewritten. Through the distortion, he saw movement. A long, shadowy arm emerging from the screen, reaching for him. He scrambled back, yanking the power cord from the wall. The TV flickered off. The static stopped. The apartment was silent again. But when he looked at his phone, the photo had changed. The man in the static was no longer in the screen. He was in the room. Ethan ran, out the door, into the freezing night, down the street, not daring to look back. He didn't stop until he reached a gas station, breathless, trembling. The clerk eyed him strangely as he clutched his phone. No service. He looked around. The street outside was eerily empty. No cars, no pedestrians, no noise. Then his phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. You can't run. He looked up. The gas station's security camera flickered with static. The small TV behind the counter glitched. And then, his reflection in the glass twisted into a wide, unnatural grin. The man in the static had found him. The static fades. But does that mean he's really gone? Or is he just waiting for the next screen to flicker back to life? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Until next time, keep the lights on, and whatever you do, don't stare too long at the static.